Tonight, all banks will close their doors to the public come next week. The National Security Minister and the Acting Police Commissioner warn against smuggling in persons from Martinique. And Independent Senator Mauricia Thomas Francis calls on government to fast-track stimulus packages for people who have been laid off. We have the details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Wednesday, the 25th of March, 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News on Flow Channel 117 on our Caribbean Hot FM mobile app and also being simulcast on Kiss FM. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. National Security Minister Herman Gill Francis and Acting Commissioner of Police Milton Daisy have issued stern warnings to perpetrators who are facilitating illegal backdoor entry of individuals from Martinique to St. Lucia. St. Lucia's borders are closed as part of COVID-19 protocols to safeguard the public. But there have been many reports that pirogues are being used to smuggle people into St. Lucia from Martinique under the cover of night.
This is very serious, and we should not be engaging in the issue of bringing persons from Martinique to St. Lucia. Only yesterday, based on the information received from the Commissioner of Police, that 2 persons from a district on the East Coast had to be taken by the police and brought in for quarantine. This is very, very serious.
ACP Milton Daisy urged members of the public to realize the seriousness of this situation and the repercussions that such actions can bring about.
So we have some challenges with persons coming in from neighboring Martinique, and that I must indicate that steps have been taken to curtail that situation. We have had 24-hour surveillance, both by the presence of the Marine unit and by otherwise, but we are going to be very strict on that.
He says this is not the preferred method of dealing with this situation, but says their hands have been forced.
Any person caught on the waters or on the beaches, or if we have information that even if they have landed, they would have landed illegally. And the police has the power to arrest them, and that is what we will do. I have had conversation with medical so that they would have their visits at custody suite, just as if they were at the detention quarantine centers. I must say that is not the way we want to go, but we, at that point, I believe we have no choice.
Daisy says if people's own personal well-being is not enough to encourage acceptable behavior, then punishment under the law will be the prescribed deterrent. The Bankers Association of St. Lucia has announced further changes to its operations, effective Monday the 30th of March to Friday the 3rd of April 2020. All banks will be closed to the public. Genevieve Gonzague tells us more.
The Bankers Association of St. Lucia shares its concerns over the spread of COVID-19 globally and in the region. On Monday, March 23rd, the government of St. Lucia declared a state of emergency in order to respond to the pandemic quickly. The Bankers Association of St. Lucia is committed to supporting the Prime Minister's call for persons to stay home and practice social distancing. As such, further changes has been made to all banks' operation. The public is asked to take note of the following adjustments. Effective Monday 30th March to Friday April 3rd, 2020, the following services will not be offered. 1. In-branch and face-to-face transactions and interactions. 2. Night depository services. 3. Processing and clearing of checks. And 4. ATM deposits. The following services, however, will still be offered. ATM dispensing of cash only. The following transactions will be fully available electronically. 1. Wire transactions or online transfers. 2. Electronic payroll processing. And 3. Processing of urgent temporary credit facilities. The Bankers Association is again adding its voice to the call for persons to stay at home and support the effort to limit the spread of COVID-19. They are asking for all of us to support and be cooperative with all essential service providers. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzalez.
Thank you, Genevieve. Independent Senator Mauricia Thomas Francis says the government needs to fast-track stimulus packages and heed the cry of citizens who are now jobless. She notes that countries in the region are rolling out assistance packages while our people wait with growing anxiety to hear what is in place for them.
Madam President, the PM stated that we are fighting two wars, and he's correct. We are fighting the war on Corona on one side, and we are fighting an economic war on the other side. But he did say, Madam President, that for the time being, we need to focus on fighting one war, and we will look at the other war later. Madam President, I would like to respectfully advise that we look at both wars simultaneously.
Independent Senator Mauricia Thomas Francis says the people of St. Lucia cannot wait any longer for government to decide the way forward on stimulus packages. She says the situation is dire for many people who were already living paycheck to paycheck and have now lost their jobs.
When we talk about 2 weeks of lockdown, 2 weeks is a very long time. There are a number of them, Madam President, little bars in the communities, the little ones selling the bakes on the street side, selling a little item here and there in the communities. Madam President, these are people who live hand to mouth. I'm aware there are many of them living hand to mouth. As they sell today, they are in the supermarkets, they are in the stores, spending the money. These are people for 14 days. They don't know how they're going to survive. So we have to be conscious of these people.
She calls on the government to hasten the process to put in place stimulus packages. She says the anxiety of St. Lucia's citizens is growing as they think of how they will survive trying times.
We have some countries in the region that have taken the step of rolling out detailed stimulus packages. Jamaica comes to mind, Barbados comes to mind, Grenada comes to mind. And Madam President, our people are reading the Facebook. They're on Facebook all day long, and when they see this, they want to know, when will we know what is going on with us in this country? And like I said, Madam President, I do not think that they are unreasonable. I believe there is a dire need for people to understand how they will survive in this current environment.
She warns that the anxiety that the population is currently feeling can manifest itself in ways that will exacerbate the health and social problems that the country is already grappling with. Health officials have put the public on alert that come Friday, the 27th of March, it will no longer be business as usual at the Victoria Hospital as the hospital actively transitions to the Owen King EU Hospital. More from Glenn Simon.
As the date draws nearer for the imminent move of the Victoria Hospital, Nursing Director Ruth Regis Adesanya advises the public that come Friday, March 27th, it won't be business as usual.
So on Friday morning, we're going to move all our inpatients from 8 a.m., starting at 8 a.m. As such, there are a number of measures we've had to put in place. We've put in place to facilitate a smooth move of our patients. From visiting time, on that day will be limited to from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. only. There'll be no visiting time again for that day. The normal visiting hours will recommence on Saturday. Additionally, our maternity patients who would normally seek care, the pregnant patients, would come in. We will still receive these patients even while we're moving the patients, but up till 12 noon. From 12 noon, the maternity unit at Victoria Hospital closes down, and so any pregnant patient coming into Victoria, coming for care, would have to go straight to the Owen King EU Hospital. It's extremely important for everybody to note that. From 12 noon, the maternity ward at Victoria Hospital is shut. For accident and emergency, or what is commonly called casualty, we will continue to give care within that facility, that unit, until 4 p.m. on that day. So from 4 p.m., the accident and emergency or casualty unit at Victoria Hospital is closed. During that 8 to 4 period, St. Jude Hospital will be giving us some assistance, and so there is the possibility that some persons may be redirected to the St. Jude Hospital based on the presenting situation.
The public is further advised that due to the COVID-19 pandemic, certain protocols have been put in place for the protection of staff and clients of both OKEU and Victoria Hospital. Medical Director Alicia Eugene Ford explains.
The Victoria Hospital will become the respiratory hospital. At that hospital, we're only asking persons with respiratory illnesses to come to that hospital. So we're looking at persons with the flu-like symptoms, with asthma and other respiratory illnesses to come to the Victoria Hospital. At that particular point, an initial review will be done, a pre-screening. If we realize at the pre-screening that there's a non-related or it's not a COVID-related case, you'll be diverted or sent or redirected to OKUH, which is a general hospital. But if you do have COVID or any symptoms or signs related to COVID, then we will take care of you at that particular hospital. This particular hospital is not working in isolation. We'll be working along with our primary healthcare department, where we already have respiratory clinics in the primary healthcare department. So we're working along these clinics to make us work at a national level so we can actually work together to combat COVID-19.
The move of the Victoria Hospital involves strategic and meticulous planning. The actual move began over a week ago with the transfer of several vital pieces of equipment and supplies, staff orientation and training, including the preparation of the various units. The move, however, is expected to intensify this week and culminate in the transfer of inpatients to the Owen King EU Hospital. Reporting for the Ministry of Health and Wellness, I am Glenn Simon.
Before we go to break, we leave you with these stats from the BBC with regard to COVID-19 around the world. The global death toll passed 20,000. Confirmed cases are at 450,000, with 110,000 people recovered. A quarter of the world's population is now living under some form of lockdown. New York reports more than 25,000 cases, but the governor says social distancing appears to be working. Prince Charles, heir to the British throne, has tested positive for the virus with mild symptoms. India's 1.3 billion people went into lockdown with a total ban on leaving their homes. The death toll in Spain has overtaken China. In Italy, cases fell slightly from Tuesday. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, pharmacies roll out new guidelines during the island's state of emergency. Adrian Auger cautions government not to abuse the exceptional powers given by Parliament. And compensation plans for emergency personnel on the front lines of the COVID-19 fight. That and more coming up after the break.